Chapter 10. We want to create some exacta plays. Now, what's the best way to create an exacta play? Well, you could jump in and just start experimenting with some exacta plays, but what I like to do is start out with a strategy that was productive on some win bets and use that as a key horse in my exacta plays. I hope I've told you before, and if I haven't, I'll repeat it. It's important not to buy too many losing tickets. So a large, like boxing 4, boxing 5, playing 3 over 4, is buying a lot of tickets on one race, all of which will lose except for possibly one. So we want to try to keep our strategies on exactas and trifectas as refined and succinct as possible so that we don't buy a lot of losing tickets. So let's take a look at this win strategy that we've just created that appears to be fairly successful. One of the first things that I would like to do is we'll run the strategy just to make sure we're back where we started, which was about an 8% ROI if I recall. And one of the things that I would do, I won't take the time to do it here, but I would go back to April 1st and see if this same strategy was productive. I might even go back to March 1st to see if it was productive over a wider period of time, and I might tweak my track list a little bit to make sure that it was consistently profitable over a 2 or 3 month period. But for now, we'll just leave it the way it is. We've got 596 races bet and 302 winners on top. So half the time we've got the winner on top. So let's use this as a basis for our exacta strategy. What we'll do then is we'll go to the bet information page and change this from a win bet to an exacta bet. And voila, you see that the program has now given you another row of selections. This is asking you now, if you're going to bet an exacta, we need to know who's going to be in the win position and who's going to be in the place position. Well, we know that we're going to use our top pick in the win position because it's a very productive and profitable strategy. So we'll leave that there. The next question becomes, what do we want to play in the second position? And I would generally start out with two bets. I don't want to buy a lot of losing bets. So let's just go 1 over the 2, 3. Now you can also go to these, what I call the batteries, the criteria boxes, and set criteria for each of those plays. You may want to make sure that they are within the 1 second of the fastest speed of the race and so forth. Same thing with the third horse. You may even want to go in to set the criteria of the fourth horse to be something that is likely not to be competitive. Or you may want to go into the third horse and set a point spread between the third and fourth to make sure we've got a good margin of error so that the chances of the fourth, fifth, or sixth horse coming into this exacta and causing a problem is going to be slim. But for now, we'll just run it the way it is and see what happens. You could change this to 1 if you want to bet dollar exactas, or leave it at 2, change it to 5, whatever, but we'll just leave it at 2, and we're going to run it just exactly the way it is, and click go, and then strategize. Now remember, we haven't changed any criteria, so we had 596 races bet under the win strategy. We should have close to that, or almost exactly that, depending on, in some cases, they may or may not offer exactas on all of these races, so it wouldn't always necessarily be exactly the same, but it should be very close to the same. And we'll see what the exacta percentage is. It's exactly the same. We have 596 races, and our ROI for the exacta portion of this, for the exacta strategy of this criteria, is at 9.98%. Now here's the good news. We've got an extra percent here than what we had when we played to win. So that's a 1 percentage point in our favor. And not only that, your rewards for exactas at harness tracks is probably going to be more like 6, 7, 8%. So you've increased now probably something like 2, 3, or 4% over our win strategy. So this is an excellent strategy. We don't need to go tinkering with this anymore. We're going to save it just the way it is. Save strategy. Now remember, before, when we clicked save the strategy for our win bets after making several changes, we clicked modify the current strategy. Well, we're not going to modify it. We want to save this as a brand new strategy because this is now an exacta strategy. So we're going to call this a new exacta strategy, and I'll spell it right this time. Save as new exacta strategy. Now we have 2 new strategies on my strategy list, and at any given time, as long as they're on your list, you can go and calculate the ROI based on the criteria that you've saved. Now obviously we know this is going to come up to approximately 9% on the exacta and 8% on the win. I'll just show you how this works, and while it's calculating, and that's 9.98, almost 10%. We're going to calculate the ROI on the win. That should come up to 8 point something, and it comes up to 8 point something %. So that concludes the development of our 2 new strategies, one for win and one for exactas, and I'll be back with chapter 11 to show you how to make money with these.